Let me just ask you all about what it's like to have this much concentrated power. Alan Greenspan, when you were running the Federal Reserve, people would sometimes describe your performance there as God on a good day. I think Senator John McCain said that his strategy to succeed you was to have a dummy made up of Alan Greenspan and put him in the Federal Reserve chair like Weekend at Bernie's, that movie. In Wall Street, they would celebrate your birthday with cakes and things like that. Did that go to your head?
No, but it sure enough embarrassed me. No, I very much appreciated that.
Paul Volcker, you had a slightly different situation. You were hung in effigy when you raised interest rates because people thought that you had single-handedly plunged the American economy into a recession. How difficult was it to deal with that?
They were cheering me.
You thought they were cheering you?
To answer your basic question, what's it like to be the chairman of all this authority? You got a board, you got a public, you got Reserve Bank presidents. You can't quite exactly do what you want without a lot of people being encouraged to agree with you, and sometimes disagree. We wouldn't have survived if there wasn't a lot of public support. People thought there was a big problem, and they didn't know all the answers, but people were unhappy, and I think they gave us some rope to hang ourselves. They felt we were doing something. They were going to be patient for a while.
Ben Bernanke, when you adopted your extraordinary measures to save the American economy through this global recession and crisis, you faced a lot of people from what was, in a sense, your own party. You had the Republican governor of Texas saying that you were engaging in treason. How'd that make you feel?
It didn't make me happy. You described the job as powerful. I think more of the responsibility side, and we had very huge responsibilities. There's really no alternative to doing what has to be done in your best judgment to try to address whatever problem you see.
So Alan Greenspan, I recall once in a Senate hearing, I think it was, the senator said, "I think I heard you say clearly," and you interrupted him and said, "If I said it clearly, Senator, I must have misspoken." Were you trying to be deliberately incomprehensible?
I thought I had succeeded marvelously. Our ability to forecast is significantly limited. And so how do you convey what you know and what is clear without going into the area of forecasting beyond our knowledge?
Should the Fed be more discreet in its announcements in order to avoid ambiguity that might have caused high volatility events like the taper tantrum?
So the basic principle of trying to be clear and transparent, explain what you're doing, is a very important one. But it is true that you have to keep things relatively simple. And if there's too many conditional parts of your statement, then sometimes it can be less well understood. In the case of the taper tantrum, I don't view it as being a really, a bad episode, but I do think it illustrates that communication is very difficult.
I wanted to follow up on Fareed's question about Neel Kashkari's recent comments. He's causing quite a stir, saying that banks are still too big to fail. I was wondering whether you think it's in his purview to say such comments, and also what do you think about them?
So when Congress decided on the structure of the Federal Reserve, I think they purposely chose a decentralized structure with reserve banks and presidents of reserve banks who would be able to take independent views. And we've encouraged that in the Federal Reserve System, that people have different interests and different points of view, and that diversity of opinion is a positive attribute. We don't want to fall into groupthink and think that it's within his purview to look at these issues.